Good morning and welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host Chump Change. This is live and recorded. For anybody that might be new here, what we typically do is go over crypto news in the space. I update myself, bring you guys along for the ride. Let's see who's here in the chat and then we'll get into this. Happy Thursday, by the way. Forgot what day it was for a second. Andrew Masai, good to see you, man. We have Charles Harris all set in the chat. Kyle Rosa, Cape Cod Crypto, good to see you, buddy. Trade Like Snipe, I already said all set. Let's see, Overboard Tech, good to see you, buddy. I have Max Voltage in the morning. First thing, appreciate you, buddy. GMC, good to see you. Leo Lustig, my man. Much Train, Crypto for Seniors, Midwest Mining, good to see you. Steven Cicero, give you a Hadouken this morning. All right, let's get into this, see what the market's looking like, and then we'll go over a few things. We have Bitcoin up over 70,000, 70,453. Hell yeah, that's sick. Perfect. We have Ethereum at 35.73, even though it's in the red, it's still over 3,500 bucks. Crazy. BCH is at $571. It's up 15% on the day. Crazy. Dogecoin, look at Dogecoin. Oh my gosh, look at that, 22 cents almost. I think it was 22 cents right before the start of the stream. That is insane. Shiba up 5.2% today. Man, things are looking really good. I wonder why the meme coins are popping off again. Anybody else holding meme coins? Let me know in the chat. We have Caspa. What the hell's going on? 13 cents, 13.4. It's all right. It's still doing fine. It's building its flag, building the platform. That's what we got to do before the explosion, right, Max? Max and DJ have a bet that Caspa is going to do worse than Litecoin in gains. I think Max is slightly delusional, but it's all right. He's winning for now. We have ETC at $32.19. All right, let's move on to crypto bubbles. See what things look like over here. Oh God, I was on the recap button the whole time. Supposed to be on the market tab. Damn it, man, I'm lost today. Sorry, I woke up a little late today, guys. All right, so let's see crypto bubbles. Dogecoin on the day, biggest earner, looks like 18.2%. Like I already said, just about 22 cents. We have BCH 16.2%, $572. We have SHIB again up 6.7. We have Floki up 11.3. Bonks up 5.1. What is ZBU? What the hell is this? Zebu? What is Zebu? Where did this come from? I don't even know what this is. Anybody heard of this coin? Man, there's so many coins that you don't even know what they are, and you've been in the space for years. You have no idea. This one's $3.86. I couldn't even tell you if this is a meme or not. I have no idea. Let's see. OP is down 6.5%, which is optimism. We have Mantle MTN down 6.5%. Near Protocol is down 5.2%. We have ICP down 9.7%. Terrible. That's Internet Computer for anybody that doesn't know. $17.65. Lido DAO is down 6.8% at $2.94. Well, that's Zebu is who Scientologists worship. Oh, Leo Lustig, that's awesome. WorldCoin down 5.2% today, $8.44. That coin, I wonder what's going on with that coin. Actually, that's the coin that Sam Altman is scamming irises for, right? Let's see. Crow, this is Kronos. This is the crypto.com token, if I'm not mistaken. Is that 15 cents as of right now? Kind of crazy. All right, let's move on to the Fear and Greed Index flashbang. We have 80 on extreme greed. Look at that. This whole thing is glowing green. This means go buy everything, right? Just kidding. Over 75 is where you want to be a little cautious, right? For obvious reasons, you know, be fearful when people are greedy and greedy when people are fearful. But at the same time, the sentiment in the market's kind of crazy right now. So I think this 80 feels like it's in neutral to me. That's honestly how it feels. Just my opinion. To each his own. Do what you will. Look at this. We got trending coins over here on CoinGecko. First thing, look at Brett. What is this? Is definitely a new meme coin. What is this? We're gonna open this in a new tab quick. Brett. What is Brett? I don't know. It's up 21.8% today. It's ranked 215. Is anybody into this coin? That's hysterical. I can see the logo kinda. It's a meme, definitely. Opolis is up 31.8%, in Bricken, whatever this is, up 28.5%. All right, top 10 coins on CoinGecko by CoinMarketCap. We have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, Solana, Lido Staked Ether, XRP, USDC, Dogecoin, and Cardano. Cardano in 65 cents in 10th place still. We have Avalanche. I wonder if Avalanche is going to flip it, actually. It's got a $20 billion market cap. We have Shiba with a $19 billion market cap, pushing back up. I wonder. It's going to be a tight race for these three. Actually, these four. Toncoin's kind of there too. So interesting. See what happens there. Scrolling down, we got Litecoin in 24th place on the top 100 chart. We have 30th for Ethereum Classic. Not too bad. Render's still doing really well. $11.30. It's in 32nd place. I wonder how things are going to look for this coin. Man, it's already been on a freaking tear. I wonder if it's going to do just as well during the bull run instead of just the pre-bull run. You know what I mean? I guess we'll have to see. Let's see what happens there. All right, let's keep going. Pepe in 43rd place, $3.4 billion market cap. Let's check out Caspa. Caspa has been flipped by Dog with Hat. Bruh. That's terrible. That's terrible. 49th place, $3.1 billion market cap. I think once their stuff comes out, whatever they're working on now, once that stuff comes out, we're gonna hope that it comes back. What is going on? All right, getting depressed. Moving on to the mining segment of things. Let's see. We have the most profitable ASICs on the market currently. You guys know I like to timestamp this just to make sure or see where we're at like a year from now. We have the KS5 Pro 21 terahash unit making $146 a day. We have the KS5 20 terahash unit making $139 a day. The BMKS Max is making $68.73. We have the Windminer K9 10.3 terahash unit making $67.50. The Ice River KS3, hold on, excuse me. Man, throat is killing me. All right, Ice River KS3 8 terahash unit. Sorry about that. $50.90 a day. We're making $35 on the KS3M, which is the 6 terahash unit. Let's see, this AlphaPex DG1, this is a new Dogecoin miner. I thought, I guess the merge mining Litecoin and Doge, but 11 gigahash units. I mean, yeah, the 11 gigahash unit at $24.43. Not too bad. The X16P is making $23 a day mining ETHW and ZIL. Not too bad. It looks like the Bitcoin miners are still most profitable on Digibyte. Interesting. That's crazy that it's how, like, why? I'm so confused. Bitcoin's is $70,000 and it's more profitable to mine Digibyte. I guess the yield. I guess. Weird. I don't know. That's strange to me. Is this strange to you? Or is it just me? Might just be me. I don't know. Anyways, Superscaler K10 mining Carlson still on the top of the charts there. $13.57 a day. Let's see, the X16Q. You guys know I have one of these. Mining ETC actually into Caspa. $8.05 a day. You guys know I'm probably making 5, if that. Most likely making 5 or so. The L7, I glanced right past it. The 9050, I got one of these things. It's $19.03 a day at 10 cents kilowatt hour. Again, shout out to Terra Hosting if you guys are interested in hosting. It's way better for me, to be honest, just because my rate is 30 cents and I just got a $700.50 electric bill. So yeah, or $750 electric bill rather. Dan the Dane, shout out to you, man. Thank you for the sticker. I haven't seen you in a minute. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. DKK, $19 or 19 DKK. I don't know what that is. I don't know what DKK is. I apologize. I'd have to look. We have the S19. I have the K Pro. Why does it say S9? Where's the S19K? Right here. S19K Pro 120 terahash unit. Again, mining Digibyte. Making $7.19 a day. That's actually still pretty good. That's still pretty good. The Ice River KS1 making $5.89 a day. If you guys have any questions, obviously feel free to just ask in the chat or whatever. Kind of all over the place today. Let's see. We have the Ice River KS0 Pro making $1.23 a day. I'm probably making close to $1. 10 Caspa. That's it, man. That's crazy. It's crazy to see how low this number gets. I mean, it gets lower and lower every single month because they shave a little bit off of the rewards every month instead of having a 4-year halving, kind of like Bitcoin. We have the Ice River KS0 100 gigahash unit. This is the original KS0. Again, Dan the Dane, thank you so much. Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you very much for making DJ scream on the live stream. Let's see, 58 cents a day. This is yeah, this is kind of shit, to be honest. I might do some experimenting with that. All right, we're gonna move on to GPUs and see what the most profitable GPU is today, or what the coin is. Looks like Graham, Mr. Dan the Dane. Thank you for the 17 DKK. You said nothing, but I appreciate you. Thank you very much for that. We have Rood puts as well. You guys are killing me. You guys are killing me. I'm just gonna let it go. All right, look, Graham. Looks like Graham is on the top of the charts here for all of these yeah, all these GPUs, literally all Graham and Conflux. A little bit of Conflux. Hold on a second. Sorry. Good kids, daddy duty. My kid's up early, so yeah, that's half the reason I was late. Anyways, we have Conflux and Graham top of the charts today. We have Chlor and Nexa a little bit. NTL, what's NTL? New coin? Nautilus, actually, we talked about this yesterday, didn't we? I think it's a new coin. New coins list, mining pool stats.stream. No affiliation, but good place to come and look for coins that are mineable. And right here, 21st Carlson hash 12 days ago. Again, Mr. Rood puts, thank you so much for the super chat. He said, don't forget to drink. Schmiegel, let's go. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you very much. I know I don't have the guy reading it anymore. Dan the Dane, thank you very much for the 17 DKK as well. All right, so let's move on to the news of the day, guys. I want to get this thing going. What's next for Bitcoin and the crypto space? Let's see over here on CNBC's television. Again, Mr. Dan the Dane, thank you very much for the 89 DKK. You're awesome, buddy.
With Ethereum heading for its best quarter in 3 years, our next guest predicts the major coins will continue to benefit from the ETFs and next month's halvening. Morgan Creek Capital Management CEO Mark Yusko is here now to explain. Mark, great to see you. It's been a while.
You too, Melissa. Always great to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
So you're forecasting Bitcoin to 150,000 in the next year?
That was like the perfect time for him to screen. Bitcoin 150,000. Oh, I love DJ. Thank you very much, Dan the Dane and Rood puts. You guys are awesome.
Or so. Can you explain how you get to that math?
Yeah, so it is just math. So we look at the fair value today from the Metcalfe's law model. That gives us round numbers around 50,000. The halving occurs in 3 weeks. What a halving does, it cuts the block rewards, the amount of money that's given to the miners to secure the network. If those rewards were to get cut in half, as they do, many of the miners would struggle. So historically, what has happened, the price rises, the fair value rises. So that would push it at 100. But this time it's a little different in that instead of just block rewards, we get transaction fees because of ordinals and inscriptions. So let's say the fair value only goes to 75 this time. Then post-halving, you get a lot of interest in the asset, a lot of people FOMO in, and we normally go to about 2 times fair value in the cycle. So in the last cycle, fair value was 30. We got as high as 68, 69. This time, I think probably 2 times because there's less leverage. So that gets us to 150.
So what's that path like to 150? Because I know that last summer you had called for a blow-off top in 2024, and we haven't seen that. Is that still to come before we get to that 150?
So the big move happens post-halving. So the halving occurs sometime between April 20th and April 21st, most likely. So once that occurs, then you start to get an increase in demand, right, from the ETFs and other people interested. But the supply of new coins goes from 900 a day to 450. Well, think about it. If there's more demand than supply, price has to rise. So the price starts to rise. It starts to become more exponential or parabolic toward the end of the year. And historically, about 9 months after the halving, so sometime toward Thanksgiving, Christmas, we see the peak in price before the next bear market.
So, Mark, Bitcoin gets the headlines, MicroStrategies and equity Coinbase. What are other things out there, equity or other coin, that you're looking at that nobody's talking about?
You know, it is so hard because the regulatory regime has been pretty restrictive. I mean, there are the mining companies that secure the network. they've had a really good run, so the valuations are a little toppy, but we do like those businesses. There are component companies that make the machines that secure the network. AMD and NVIDIA have been a story, a proxy to play the crypto markets for about 6 or 7 years. But again, they're at valuation levels that are tough to stomach. There are a lot of really interesting products and new tokens in the private markets. That's where we traffic at Morgan Creek Digital. About 80% of what we invest in are private companies, and only about 20% are in the liquid tokens. But we like things like Ethereum, we do like Solana, we do like Avalanche, and you can go down a little bit lower on the capitalization scale. Bitcoin's the king. It is the dominant token. It is a better form of gold or digital property now, as Michael Saylor calls it. So I do think it will be the best, but the law of large numbers comes in. I think it could go up 10x from here easily over the next decade, but I think some of the smaller projects will go up orders of magnitude more, just the law of small numbers.
For that 20.
There you go. That's what it is, Max. That's what you and DJ got. DJ's going after the law of small numbers. There we go. Perfect. What do you guys think? 10x in the next decade on Bitcoin? That's definitely possible, for sure.
20% in the more liquid tokens markup. I'm curious, do you just buy and hold, hodl, or do you actually trade around the position?
And
Did you just try to say hodl?
Hold, hodl, or do you actually trade around the position?
Melissa. And we're a venture capital firm, Morgan Creek Digital, so we're not a trading fund. So we do buy and hold or hodl, but we will sell on occasion. We sold a bunch of our Solana 2 years ago when they ran into problems with the network. We sold about 2/3 of it. Thankfully, we didn't sell all because it's done well. We sold about 3/4 of our Coinbase stock when it went public. And now we hold about 1/4 of it. And we think big things are in line for Coinbase. That's one I forgot to mention. We do like Coinbase a lot. So we do hold mostly as opposed to trade. Great question.
All right. Shout out to CNBC television for that. Let's move on to Mike Novogratz over here. Says Bitcoin participation is just starting. Let's see what he has to say over on Bloomberg television. And excuse me for a brief moment. I have to run upstairs quick. My daughter needs me.
It's been an interesting short-term watch, particularly driven by flows into the Bitcoin ETFs. I note on the Bloomberg, there's a brilliant story about the enthusiasm for Bitcoin ETFs in Korea, for example. Just let's start the conversation with how you are and what you're thinking about right now.
Yeah, listen, Bitcoin has broadly doubled since November. So let's hold this in context, right? We had a 35,000, dollar price 5 months ago, and we're now 70,000. And so it's been a monster rally. That rally was mostly fueled by adoption, right? With the ETF, it made it very easy for people in the U.S. institutions and the wealth channel, most importantly, to access Bitcoin for the first time. What's happening at the same time this is happening in the U.S., we're launching ETFs with, or ETPs, with DWS in Europe. We've got a partnership with Itaú in Brazil, and you're seeing people around the world participating in the simpler form of Bitcoin, right? An easier access form. And so I think this is just starting. Like, what will happen to prices? Prices are going to consolidate for a while between 75 and maybe 62 or even 58. You could see a consolidation, but each 100 days, our government's adding, $1 trillion of debt, right? We're at 34 trillion right now. We'll be at 35 trillion and then 40 trillion. That story is so powerful. It makes it easy for salespeople, right? For registered investment advisors to tell their clients, put a couple percent of your net worth in Bitcoin. And you're seeing that happening. This is a process that's going to go for years, not for months.
Mike, let's then have a robust and healthy debate about this. Jack Mallers, who I'm sure you are aware of or at least know, was on the show this week talking about the same thing. He looked at inflation, he looked at debt, and he makes the point that because there are a finite volume of Bitcoin, that the price will continue going up in the context of those economic factors. The pushback that I gave him was, well, actually, if you look at Bitcoin trading, there's a lot of short-term liquidity, and the market doesn't think that inflation is going to tick higher over a medium and long-term basis from this point. So let's get back into it, where Bitcoin fits into a portfolio for an investor who is thinking about the national debt, who is thinking about what is happening with rates.
Listen, you could have bought a house in America in 2012 for $190,000, and today that number's about $400,000, right? And so when you print as many dollars as we're printing, forget what the headline inflation number looks at, because you have asset inflation that doesn't go into CPI. At times you have food inflation, and so you have lots of different inflations. The purchasing power of the underlying currency goes down. Right? Look how much silver a British pound gets you today. Certainly does not get you a pound of silver. You know, the long-term history of governments is that they debase their currencies, and we're in that process. And we've got an election coming up between Biden and Trump, both who I think will expand the balance sheet. We're running 25% of GDP as a federal budget. That number should be 20. So we're 5% of GDP off of where a real good, you know, tight government would be spending. And I just don't see that changing, right? Populism is taking over the world. It's a very scary world in that respect. But Trump is a populist and Biden is a populist. We don't have a centrist in the system. And so I'm really skeptical that we're going to have a Simpson-Bowles amendment or something to balance the budget or someone to cut spending. And until that happens, it's easy to sell Bitcoin.
Near term, things are going pretty well for you.
I don't know if it's these guys that type like aggressively or if it's like people in the background, like in front of him or something, but it's loud as shit. I know it's not me, I promise.
In Galaxy Digital, you swung to a profit in the quarter. Reflect on that and how meaningful it is.
Well, it feels very different than it did 6 months ago, right? Our phones are ringing off the hook. We've gotten into the staking business. We'll have over $1 billion, $1.5 billion staked, which wasn't 6 months ago. We were barely in that business. That's part of our infrastructure part. Our mining, we're mining coins cheaper than anyone else, any public company and any private company I can see, because we're so well situated in Texas. So our mining business is doing well. Our derivative business is booming. Lending is picking up. People are lending us money at much cheaper rates than they used to lend us money. And institutional partners are reaching out and looking at how can we work together. And so when I look at it all together, it just feels like a different business than it did 6 months ago. We made money. We own a lot of assets. Assets went up. Our businesses made money. Our operating businesses are running profitable. And so could it be more exciting?
Mike, just real quick.
Texas, huh? Is that the place to be? What do you guys think? Texas for mining? How's the electric rate down there? Is anybody from Texas? Is it like way better? I'm really wondering.
I think you told investors that work on Delaware was ongoing and a NASDAQ listing ongoing. Do you have any updates on both of those items?
Listen, what I told investors was for 2.5 years, we have been working diligently with the regulator, the SEC here, trying to get redomiciled to the U.S. and listed on the NASDAQ. There was a change of philosophy after Jay Clayton in the last administration left and Gary Gensler in the new administration came in. And just looking at the facts, no companies that do anything other than Bitcoin have made it through as public companies. And it's been frustrating. It feels very un-American, right? That we've got this one group of companies that got public, that have access to the capital markets, that have access to cheaper funding, and we're waiting on the sidelines still. I am optimistic that things will change. You know, there's an election coming up. No matter who wins the election, I think there'll be turnover at the regulators. I think Democrats are realizing that crypto is, the American public is voting. They're voting that they really like Bitcoin, they like digital assets, and they like crypto. And so politicians usually can sense where the wind is blowing, and the wind is blowing at the backs of the people who are engaged in crypto. I think you're going to see it as a big factor in a few elections. This, John Tester's election in Wyoming, Sherrod Brown, the crypto PACs are going after in Ohio because they've stood in the way a little bit. And so I think the Democrats are going to learn and have learned. When I'm in D.C., most Democrats I talk to, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, they see this as a bipartisan issue. But it's been a small handful that have stopped any real advancement of legislation and pushing the SEC to kind of look at this industry as a tech-forward industry, a future-forward industry, and to be fair to all the players.
All right, shout out to Mr. Mike Novogratz. All right, let's jump over here. You guys want to listen to this? The crypto tax burden you may not have considered. I don't know what this is about. That's probably going to bore the shit out of us. This 1980s image of the $100 bill. I don't know what's happening here. It's 4 minutes long. Let's see what they got to say. I guess if it gets boring, we'll skip it.
Bitcoin euphoria is back, baby. The world's largest cryptocurrency is up more than 57% this year in 2024, but that also makes navigating the tax implications of crypto transactions more pressing as tax professionals worry about increased scrutiny.
You know what though? I'm wondering like if this is the FUD BS that the big guys are like getting these news channels to do or to talk about to kind of steer people away from crypto right now so they can continue to buy more than you. Just tinfoil hat moment.
The IRS has announced it will hire 2 former crypto executives to support its digital currency service, reporting compliance and enforcement programs. So, here to make crypto filing easier for us is Yahoo Finance senior reporter Jennifer Schomburger to give us the latest. Hey, Jen.
Hey, Brad, if you bought or sold crypto last year, you'll need to report that to the IRS. Here are 3 things you need to know when it comes to filing your taxes and crypto. Number 1, you'll need to tell the IRS whether you received or sold crypto last year. At the very top of that 1040 individual tax form, the IRS will again ask whether during 2023 you received or sold a digital asset. Check yes.
If you guys just go, I have a link to Coinly in the description below. I don't care if you use my link, but Coinly does like this all for you. You just input all of your shit, and then it gives you a form and everything's checked off. So you don't gotta like worry about checking anything. It just completely, like, it cost me like $100, maybe 150, I forget. But nonetheless, it was, you input everything and it's all done for you. So I don't know, take it as you will. It's way easier than risking doing something wrong on here.
Yes or no, depending on your answer. If you only owned crypto during 2023
not that that's really that complicated, but you get my gist, right?
Didn't sell it, you can check the no box. Of course, a digital asset includes cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ether, stable coins, and non-fungible tokens or NFTs. Number 2, for tax purposes, the IRS has determined that crypto should be treated like property and thus reported in many ways similar to stock sales. So if you sold crypto last year with a gain, you...
Real quick, shout out to Mr. Dan the Dane again for the 17 DKK. Thanks, buddy.
...will owe taxes on that. The tax rate is determined by how long you held the crypto. If you held for a year or less, that's considered a short-term gain and would be taxed at the same rate as your income. If you held crypto assets for more than a year before selling, then you would be taxed at the capital gains rate.
Capital gains rate. Ugh. Mr. Pellish Miner, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. He said, good morning to everyone. Got no power here. Entire town is out. Back to the Stone Age. Let's go. Bitcoin. Oh my God, that's terrible. Thank you for the super chat, buddy.
Which ranges from 0% to 15 or 20%, depending on your income bracket. And number 3, if you...
All right, and last pause. Dan the Dane, thank you so much. 169 DKK. You're awesome, buddy. Thank you so much.
Sold your crypto investment at a loss, leverage that for tax purposes. You can use the loss to offset other income up to $3,000, $1,500 if married and filing separately to reduce your taxable income. And unlike stocks, investors can take advantage of the fact that wash sale rules do not apply to crypto right now.
That's a good point. Does anybody else deal with the wash sale rules? Does anybody take advantage of that? Because you can sell an asset and buy back in 30 days later for the tax lost harvesting type deal. And Dan the Day, you're insane. Thank you so much for the 89 DKK. Appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, that's, I don't know. I would absolutely take advantage of it. Why wouldn't you? It'd be stupid if you didn't.
That is, with stocks, investors can't sell shares at a loss and then buy those shares back within 30 days and still claim that loss to offset other capital gains. But you can do that now with crypto. Now, remember, this only applies to 2023 transactions. And if you bought and sold one of those spot Bitcoin exchange traded products this year, that doesn't apply to this tax filing season. And by the way, the IRS has not issued guidance yet on those spot Bitcoin ETPs. And also one other note, if you received crypto as income last year, you'll need to report that as wages to the IRS. Brad?
Okay, Jennifer, so the IRS is also
So if you're mining, you need to claim it. Just in case you guys didn't know.
launching a new program to help first users file electronically and for free. What else do we know about this program?
Nope. We're not gonna let the fucking company shill some bullshit. All right, let's get into the CNBC television. Sam Bankman-Fried faces up to 50 years in prison at sentencing hearing. This was actually released an hour ago, and I guess his hearing's today for his actual sentencing.
This is quite literally Sam Bankman-Fried's final chance to make a direct appeal to Judge Lewis Kaplan. This is an old school, no nonsense judge who's a legend in the Southern District of New York. He had zero patience for Sam's demeanor on the stand in October. And that's really the thing that we're looking out for here. Can Sam change Judge Kaplan's mind? And the only way that he can really do that is, one, if he takes a stand, and then two, if this time around he accepts some responsibility for what happened to FTX customers. The judge will also give the government and the defense one last chance to make their arguments. And without a jury in the room, there's nothing that's really off limits in terms of talking points. Bankman-Fried just added another attorney to his roster, Mark Mukasey. This is a former federal prosecutor who helped the Nikola founder get a 4-year prison sentence instead of the 11 years that prosecutors were after. I am very interested to hear what he might have to say later today. And it's also possible the victims will take the stand. From there, it's all Judge Kaplan, who tends to give lengthy speeches around his rulings, like when he sent SBF back to jail in August.
All right, so
man,
what are you hearing in terms of possible sentencing, and what could it mean for the crypto sector? When this case first broke, we saw crypto prices decline. Does it give people more confidence in crypto in your mind?
Yeah, great question. So in terms of sentencing, the max sentence here is north of 110 years. Now, prosecutors are angling for something in the range of 40 to 50 years. And then the defense team says that they want something in the range of 5 to 6.5 years. So we're obviously seeing people at different ends of the spectrum. I've spoken to multiple former federal prosecutors, white-collar defense attorneys, trial attorneys, and the consensus here is that they'll see something halfway between those two ranges, so something in that 20 to 30-year space. But to your larger point, what does this mean for the larger crypto sector? And it's been a good thing. We've seen record-high prices in the last 6 months, and especially in this last month. And what that speaks to is the fact that a lot of these grifters are being washed out, and that's cleaning up the sector. It's better optics. You're seeing asset managers like BlackRock jump into the space, which is a net benefit.
Shout out to CNBC for that. I just put a poll in the chat. I just released it now. What do you guys think he's going to get? 100 plus years, 50 plus years, 10 to 30 years, or 5 to 10 years? Sam Bankman-Fried's trial is today. I wonder what's going to happen. All right, CNBC Crypto World. We have Coinbase drops nearly 3% after the SEC scores a big win in the lawsuit against crypto firm. I didn't hear that. That happened. What happened? I want to see what happened. But it's I don't know. I feel like it would be bigger news if it was an actual win. Like what even happened over there? Real quick, Dan the Dane, save your damn money. I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you so much for the 169 DKK. You're amazing.
Today, the SEC
Thank you.
scores a major win in its lawsuit against Coinbase. The UK is regulating memes about crypto and other investments in an attempt to curb scams. And we take a deep dive into how the fashion industry is embracing Web3.
Thank you again for the 169 DKK. You're insane. Appreciate it.
Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Tanea McKeel. Crypto prices in the red across the board, with Bitcoin falling below the $70,000 level.
For the record, this was yesterday afternoon. We're just doing the roundup. We're over 70,477 bucks as of right now.
As of noon Eastern, both Bitcoin and Ether dropped around 2%. Solana dropped nearly 5% to $181.
Solana drops 5% to $181. What? It's doing so well.
Okay, let's talk about the top stories. The SEC just scored a big win in its lawsuit against Coinbase.
There it is.
This morning, a judge rejected the crypto exchange's bid to dismiss the agency's claim that Coinbase engaged in unregistered sales of securities. That complaint will now head to trial. The regulator first filed suit against...
What? That was the win? That was their glorified win? What? They didn't get a case dismissed, and that was the SEC winning. Hey, whatever. Just give them a softball because they needed it, clearly.
The crypto company back in June, alleging that the firm was acting as an unregistered broker and exchange. In the ruling,
They made it like such a big deal, like they actually won something.
The judge wrote that the challenged transactions fall comfortably within the framework that courts have used to identify securities for nearly 80 years, and that the SEC adequately alleges that Coinbase, through its staking program, engaged in the unregistered offer and sale of securities. The judge went on to say that the court agreed to dismiss the SEC's claim in the lawsuit that Coinbase acted as an unregistered broker by making its wallet application available to customers. In a series of posts on X today, Coinbase's chief legal officer wrote that the company was prepared for this and looks forward to, quote, uncovering more about the SEC's internal views and discussions on crypto regulation. As of noon, Coinbase shares were trading around 3% lower on the news of the ruling. Next, Hashdex has become the 11th asset manager to enter the competitive and crowded spot Bitcoin ETF field. The firm's new Bitcoin ETF started trading in the U.S. today after it completed the conversion of its futures fund to hold spot Bitcoin. Yesterday,
Weird, so we got another ETF.
Hashdex announced the renaming of its Bitcoin futures ETF to the Hashdex Bitcoin ETF, which is trading today on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker DeFi. The newly converted fund will invest at least 95% of its assets into spot Bitcoin, while up to 5% of the fund's remaining assets can go into CME-traded Bitcoin futures contracts and cash, as well as cash equivalents.
So it has to have, hold on. Going forward, under normal market conditions, the fund's investment policy is to maximize its holdings of physical Bitcoin such that it is expected that at least 95% of the fund's assets will be invested in spot Bitcoin. Interesting.
And finally, the UK's financial services regulator announced guidelines for companies and social media influencers making memes about crypto and other investments. The Financial Conduct Authority said in a statement yesterday that any marketing for financial products, including those expressed in memes, should be fair, clear, and not misleading. The watchdog said financial influencers, or finfluencers, must have the approval of an FCA-appointed representative to be able to make advertisements and memes about financial products. The regulator introduced the new rules in an effort to cut down on scams. The FCA stressed that the use of memes in promotions is prevalent in the crypto industry and said that they're often shared on platforms like Telegram and Reddit. All right, for our main story, some think Web3 has the potential to change the way consumers interact, shop, and buy fashion pieces. A few big brands have been quick to adopt the technology, while others have been apprehensive. Crypto World's Talia Kaplan explores how more and more fashion brands are embracing Web3.
The trillion-dollar fashion industry is exploring new ways to reach people in the ever-growing digital space, and some companies think Web3 might be the way to do it. Fashion houses are using Web3 components like NFTs, blockchains, and the metaverse to bring their designs into the next iteration of the internet. Allied Analytics found the global digital clothing market, which encompasses augmented and virtual reality, AI, and blockchains, could skyrocket to nearly $5 billion by 2031. That's compared to about $500 million the digital clothing industry generated in 2021.
What?
The blockchain segment was the largest market that year, contributing to a third of the global digital market share. Blockchain technology is expected to maintain its leadership status through 2031.
The Apple Vision Pro and the future of VR provide such an opportunity for us to create digital clothing that people can wear and flex in their cyber world, metaverse, whatever you'd like to.
Go down the street to like the bar and hang out with real fucking people, please. What? What? You're gonna be flexing clothes inside an Apple Pro? I am getting the F off this video. If you guys want to watch it, link is down below, because that is some voodoo bullshit. I don't know what's going on there. We're not gonna watch it. that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Okay, moving on. We are going to go to Anthony Palm's channel and watch this video. This interview he had actually with a Bitcoin mining facility that is apparently something. They're dipping their toes into the data center world, right? That's pretty much where all these Bitcoin facilities are going. I'm sorry, I can't do the digital close thing. It just throws me off. I apologize to anybody that wanted to watch that. I don't know. Rubs me the
All right,
wrong
guys,
way.
bang, bang. I've got Dan here with me. I thought a great place to start this conversation is you guys burst onto the scene. You built these data centers where you're doing Bitcoin mining. Bitcoin is surging. Everyone's really excited. But maybe you weren't actually just building a Bitcoin miner. What it seems like you guys were doing was really building data centers where you could put Bitcoin mining, or you could put artificial intelligence computational power as well. And so maybe we just start with like, what is a data center and how do these exactly work?
Oh, this is cool. That's actually a cool question. I haven't watched this at all, by the way. I'm excited to see what they say about it, but it's interesting to see how like even, you know, Terra hosting, right? People I host with, they're going towards like data center stuff because apparently it seems to be more lucrative, or I don't know if it's more lucrative or not. Is it just a good idea to go that route or not? I don't know. It's weird. Let's see.
Yeah, look, that's right. Clearly, we didn't see the current wave of AI taking off as it did. But when we built this business 5.5 years ago, it was all about the thesis that we needed power-dense data centers. So what is a data center? Historically, over the last couple of decades, you've seen the emergence of these major capital city data centers, which are typically optimized for things like lifetime cloud computing. So mission-critical hospital, government, corporate cloud computing systems. And what we foreshadowed where we started Iron was that the emergence of just power dense compute. So just workloads that needed to crunch data. Now, whether that was genomics, whether that was just gas and oil reservoir analysis, whether it was machine learning, AI, Bitcoin at the time, we were very bullish on Bitcoin. We remain bullish on Bitcoin. What a great way to bootstrap the development of these power-dense data centers. And the key difference between what we've built and traditional data centers is their ability to handle these power-dense workloads. And that goes to two main things. One is what they term rack density. So the amount of power that you can physically feed into a rack, which is, you know, a column of computers. And the other one is ventilation and cooling, the ability to transfer the heat that is generated from that computing power away from the rack to keep the computers cool. Historically, capital city data centers have grown up in this world of using around 50 kilowatts of power per rack. We've started out doing kilowatts. Now, the NVIDIA GPUs that we're using for AI require about 40 kilowatts per rack. So for us, we're arguably overspec from a power density perspective. For traditional data centers, they're effectively having to replace 2 out of every 3 racks with empty racks in order to accommodate these NVIDIA GPUs. So it's an enormous opportunity for us.
Now,
man, his internet is awful. It's gonna get off that AOL. But yeah, if you guys saw my my video visiting Terra Hosting, doing some work down there, the way they designed the building, how they have all the ASICs in the middle, and you know, airflow coming in one side and exiting the other side, it's they gotta go towards efficiency in that route, right? And they're gonna have to do the same thing with like any type of data center, because these machines are gonna be pumping out like crazy heat. Like I think they're even building rigs of 4090s, if I'm not mistaken, in their original data center they have, right? So it's the amount of heat those things are going to be pumping out, because you don't know what happens, right? You just put it on a renting platform and somebody rents it for whatever they want, right? They can rent it to mine crypto, they can rent it to do just normal AI compute, whatever the hell they need it for. It's just, I don't know. Weird.
When you think of building these data centers and operating these data centers, how much of it is like the classic real estate, location, location, location? Even though people aren't necessarily coming by like retail foot traffic, you do have to think a lot about like energy sources. If you're not near the energy, it's probably more expensive. And so how do you think about energy sources, select those energy sources, and think about locations to put these data centers?
Absolutely. And look, most of our backgrounds is in infrastructure, renewable energy development, as well as the data center side. And what we saw firsthand was this Western government push to promote the build out of renewable energy. And like most government programs, there's side effects of how that works. And one of those unintended consequences is building a lot of renewable generation in places where people cannot use it. So you think about the Blackstones, the BlackRocks, all these people building and buying solar farms. It doesn't matter where.
Are we gonna have to deal with this guy's internet connection the whole time?
Where they build them, they will still get the renewable energy certificate. So our Childress site,
it looked like Pomp was just getting pissed at his connection, and he's like, "What the hell is ruining my video?"
which is located up in the Panhandle region of Texas, there's around 32 gigawatts of wind and solar. The transmission line's 12 gigawatts to actually export that load down to Dallas and Houston and the other demand centers. So for us, the ability to go and locate in what is a quite sizable regional town in Childress, but take up this excess renewable energy and turn it into computing power, whether that's AI, Bitcoin, or future applications, is something that's really compelling and attractive from a cost and value generation perspective.
Now, when we think about what's going inside of the data centers, some data centers cost, I don't know, $8 million to build, right? It's incredibly expensive. Bitcoin miners historically have loved the fact that they can set up what people that I know in the data center business would call a chicken coop. You don't need all of the redundancy. You don't need all of the super clean lifted floors and, great ventilation and all these things. It was kind of like you just needed the bare minimum to get operational. And so how do you all think about maybe like the quality or the cost of the data centers that you're building?
Yeah, look, I think it's fair to say we've spent a bit more than your average Bitcoin miner on these facilities, but substantially less than traditional data centers. So we haven't done CCANs, shipping containers, old warehouses. We certainly have clean floors. We have very clean, dust-free environments. And from day one, we've built out the facilities, both from an infrastructure, networking, communications perspective, to be fit for purpose for different functionality, i.e. different use cases. So we've installed ASICs historically at all of our data centers. And recently we've been swapping out some of those ASICs for the NVIDIA GPUs. And I mentioned the ventilation and the power density earlier. That was fine. That was easy in the sense that we can manage the heat. But because we'd implemented all these additional redundancies around network comms, et cetera, we were able to plug in the GPUs and launch an AI cloud service that has been really well received by the market. I think one of the key elements of where the generative AI market is today is it's very focused on training models. So you've got a number of these startups or scale-up businesses that are raising a lot of capital, building out training models that really do look like they're going to deliver valuable use cases. And during this training phase, it's very project-based, i.e. run your workload for 3 months, 6 months, develop the model. And in the future, you'll then have more of the inference workloads. So the key distinction I'd like to draw is training versus inference. Training is developing the model. Inference is when you log on to ChatGPT with a prompt or Mid-Journey for an image, type in your prompt, it generates the response live time. That's inference. So for us, we're doing a lot of the training models. The next wave of AI and the next wave for us is really tapping into that inference market.
Now, when I think of these two use cases, it almost seems like you guys have preserved optionality. You could do Bitcoin mining, you could do AI compute. There are some differences, not just in the actual machines that you use. So, for example, with Bitcoin miners, there's persistent demand for the mining hash rate, right? You can just hook into the network and there you go, you're off to the races. With AI, do you need a sales force? Like, how do you go get customers? Is there so much demand that like you guys like put up a flag on the internet and you're like, hey, we have compute, and people just like storm the facility? You know, how is this working right now?
Absolutely. It's a key point. And in fact, I think it was 4 years ago, we signed our first MOU for non-Bitcoin applications with Dell. And that was to bring out their customers and hardware to do high performance compute like AI in the very early phases, machine learning, etc. And one of the reasons we aborted or postponed at that point in time was it's hard to develop all these customer base. Tiny contracts, it just doesn't move or didn't move the needle at that time. And it was much easier to plug in these Bitcoin mining machines. They're generating substantial cash flow from day one with no sales force. And there's always a buyer of last resort in there in the Bitcoin market. So today, with the scale and size of where the AI market's now reached, it's much easier to win large contracts. And in fact, we're having multiple conversations with people that want substantially more capacity than what we've currently got. So that's a fantastic problem. And at the other end, which we're clearly working on. So yes, we are developing a sales force. To date, it's just been us internally having conversations with these AI companies. And in terms of the optionality, what's fantastic is that we build these data centers. We can immediately install them with Bitcoin ASICs, generating cash flow off them. And then as the AI market progresses, we've always got data center capacity available to service it. So we're not, again, like other data centers, which will only build once they've got a customer contract. You've then got to kick off a 6 to 18 month construction program. We've always got immediately available capacity, which is a key competitive advantage. And in terms of the optionality and value generation, we've now got this kind of call option or exposure on two enormous exponential macro trends. And what we've been able to do is to leverage a real asset and leverage it into these exponential revenue lines because of the emergence and growth in technology.
Now, what is the difference between the monetization, right, in terms of how much you get paid if you're mining Bitcoin versus AI? And maybe we could think of it on like a unit economic basis, or we could also think about it just in terms of like maybe you get more compute into a data center or something like what is the decision framework between should we mine Bitcoin or should we service, AI companies?
Yeah, it's a really good question, Paul, and it's something that we think a lot about. Right now, we're going very hard at both, particularly given the state of both markets. So we're scaling up to 20 exahash over the next 9 months of capacity, which will take us to one of the largest listed miners. And we've been able to do that because we've got all the power, the land, we've invested ahead of the curve, and now it's just punching out the capacity. So we're going full steam ahead.
Most of the restriction, I think, is on the electric companies, right? On the electric provided to you, because there's only so much available whatever spot you decide to choose, unless you build a freaking power plant next to you, which I'm sure these companies can do.
Ahead of that. And then the AI side of the business is very easy to backfill into existing data center capacity as the customer demand continues to mop up the additional capacity that we bring online. I think the key reason why these strategies are not mutually exclusive is the capital intensity of GPUs. So the capital intensity of GPUs is very different to ASICs. So the decision framework is build these data centers, and then you've got the choice. Buy the Bitcoin mining machines. They're typically historically around 12 to 18 month paybacks, cash on cash. It's a bit earlier or a bit sooner in the current environment, given where Bitcoin's trading. And then on the GPU side, they're around about 2-year payback.
Interesting because in one of them, you're getting paid in dollars. Those dollars don't appreciate. So you kind of, you want profit, and then you got to figure out what to do with those dollars. With Bitcoin, it's appreciating now. It does draw down. And so there's like a currency risk to some degree in both directions. And so how do you think about the Bitcoin that you do mine, whether to hold it whether to sell it for cash or, sell it to reinvest in the business. Like just talk through kind of the almost like capital allocation decision when you're actually mining Bitcoin rather than receiving dollars on the AI side. Real quick, I don't think I personally don't think Pomp's invested in this. I don't know though. Obviously nobody knows, right? Unless he says it. But his story never changes. He's always going after the best thing for Bitcoin. Like, did you see how he kind of turned that back into a Bitcoin conversation towards the end? Like, what do you do with the fiat that you're making over the the Bitcoin? And yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't think this is like a shill interview, more for educational purposes, because AI is a giant narrative, regardless of how many people just want to focus on Bitcoin. We have to focus on AI too, because that's going to be a big part of this entire run.
Yeah, so today we have liquidated all our Bitcoin immediately. Every day we get the expected amount of Bitcoin into our regulated exchange account. We sell it for cash, withdraw that to our bank account, pay the power bill at the end of the month, and pocket the rest as profit. And that's been a strategy to leverage our infrastructure, data center, real asset background and generate.
Well, that's just kind of stupid. Hopefully they purchase some on their own dime. Maybe they have to do that as a business as a whole, cash out and then purchase whatever you want just for like tax reasons. Might be easier that way, but that's weird.
Cash flows from this business. Now, we're as bullish as anyone on Bitcoin, but what we haven't seen is worthwhile is to dilute and issue lots of shares to go and buy Bitcoin and then sit on them. We've had a pretty firm view from day one that investors shouldn't be paying us to hold Bitcoin on their behalf. If people want to own Bitcoin, go and buy it in cold storage. If you don't want to manage cold storage, you've now got ETFs. I don't understand why people would want to pay me to hold Bitcoin on their behalf and dilute our share price to do that. Essentially, the other miners are doing. So for us, we have been reinvesting that operating cash flow to minimize dilution and hyperscale the growth in our business. Now,
I guess that kind of makes sense though.
As we approach that 20 exahash, that's a substantial amount of capacity, a substantial amount of Bitcoin that we're generating. Do we change strategy at that point? Perhaps. Maybe we do start holding a little bit of Bitcoin.
Weird, though.
Do we start looking at dividends?
Now, there's two stories here, and you could be a Bitcoin mining company, you could be an AI company, but it sounds like almost you guys are like, no, we're both. There's like this like advanced compute story. And so talk a little bit as to conversations with investors or people in the public markets, and how do they respond or receive the Bitcoin story, the AI story, and then maybe this like more like umbrella approach where you're like, we're just looking for advanced computational, opportunities to leverage our infrastructure.
Today's I knew it was coming sooner or later.
I think from the Bitcoin side, people are attracted to the way we've built the business, which is long-term infrastructure, no cutting corners. We're building multi-decade data centers. Our uptime and efficiency is fantastic. Our execution capability, we don't miss construction milestones. If we say we're going to do something, we pride ourselves on doing it at least on time, if not earlier. So that is something that I receive a lot of positive feedback from investors, along with the transparency of our monthly reporting and the insight into our operations. The vast majority of those investors are thrilled, are thrilled about the emergence of the AI business. They see it as another great macro tailwind for us to tap into. They see the exponential opportunities in that sector. They see how well suited our facilities are to servicing that market. And I wouldn't call it a hedge on Bitcoin, because most of our investors, all of our investors, are very bullish on Bitcoin. But the alternative strategy just creates this more robust business in their mind. And that lower volatility should lead to a lower cost of capital in the future and the ability to scale both sides of the business even faster. Because if you've got a commodity facing business that fluctuates really volatile day to day, that's going to have a very different cost of capital to something like an AI business where you've got customer contracts, more steady state demand. So the ability to put those two together, lower our overall cost of capital, and then hyperscale both sides of the business is a really appealing part of the strategy for investors.
Thank you for the follow.
Given cost of capital is so important to the business, how do you all think about in the United States, kind of the Fed interest rates and some of these drivers of cost of capital versus maybe other markets that you've evaluated, whether you should go into or not, and cost of capital there or interest rates and central bank decisions?
Yeah, look, I think cost of capital globally, a lot does depend on what the US does anyway, right? So I see the benefit of being located in the biggest capital market, the biggest capital pool. We listed on the NASDAQ, as you know, 3.5 years ago under Iron with JP Morgan, Citi, Canaccord as the lead. And I think being active in that market, it wasn't easy IPOing at the top of Bitcoin in November 2021. But really now you're seeing the benefits of having that public market transparency. And we're not talking about just the equity side, the credit interest that's emerging in this late stage of the monetary tightening cycle as people anticipate more liquidity coming back into the system is becoming really exciting. And I think when you look at our underlying business and the ability to finance a business that is exposed to both Bitcoin and AI, we're getting a lot more traction in the credit markets on terms that may be a lot more appealing for us to scale up this business. And ultimately, that's how you can grow a business successfully at a lower cost of capital, is when you start layering in different parts of the capital structure.
All right, I'm going to let you guys go finish this one by yourselves. We're going to move on to Altcoin Daily, see what he's got to say over here. The Bitcoin halving is about to be insane. Best 100x crypto altcoins to buy and hold. I don't know if there's going to be shills in here. I would say there probably is going to be, but nonetheless, if you guys want to watch any of these channels, links are down in the description below. I'll try to skip whatever is just ad stuff, but let's see what he's got to say.
The halving's a huge deal.
The Bitcoin halving is in less than 25 days.
There will only ever be 21 million, but not all 21 million have been issued to the world yet.
And even though there is a fixed supply,
Bitcoin is on a fixed issuance schedule. Satoshi programmed when he or she launched Bitcoin on how those would be issued out.
And most have been mined.
We're at about 19 million out of 21 so far. And every 10 minutes, more and more get issued. And the halving is when that issuance schedule gets cut in half.
Meaning there'll be half as much sell pressure on the network.
So the supply, the forced sellers, those that pay money to produce Bitcoins, which then have to sell it to pay for their costs, that's going to be halved. And so the really simple way to think about it, Ed, is if demand remains the same and the Bitcoin sold gets cut in half, it should have an impact on the price to the upside. So it's a big event.
Here are 9 altcoins that will 100x before the halving. And
nobody knows if any coins will 100x, just for the record. Let's see.
While Bitcoin is inevitable, it's just the natural.
Yeah, I have a sweatshirt like that in my store. If you guys are interested. Evolution of money. It's funny.
Evolution of money.
You go to work every single day and you pour your blood, sweat, and tears, all of the time you spend on this planet, in exchange for what? Money.
Watch this whole clip. It's about 2 minutes.
It was a good clip, by the way.
Crypto is just the next step in money.
We watched it 2 days ago.
We'll talk altcoins. The
Or
Strike
yesterday.
CEO, Jack Mallers on Bloomberg, they can make more real estate, they can find more gold, but they can't make more Bitcoin.
So the central planning of money convolutes and complicates so much of the inner workings of society. Let's go back to basics. Our government is in debt, right? Yes or no? The US government, that is. What all governments, right? Our government's in debt. Okay, traditionally, Ed, if I owed you 20 bucks, I'd have 2 options. I'd one have to default on that and say, you know what, Ed, I hope you still consider me a good friend, but I'm not going to make whole on that $20. The other is I could pay it back. Those are classically the 2 options that anyone in debt has, right? Now, the government, because they centrally plan and control our currency, unfortunately has a third, and that's that they can print more money, devalue the debt that they have and that they owe, and allocate more capital to themselves. So our government can't default. The US, the United States of America, cannot default on debt. It would collapse the entire planet. We also cannot afford to pay it back. So if you just, listen, I didn't even go to college, brother. This is just 101 basics, how the world works. If we can't default and we can't pay it back, what's the only option that they have to do? No matter what they sit and tell you at the Fed chair meetings and all of the economists, they have to issue more dollars. And so if there's going to be more pieces of green paper, you want them competing for the most fixed thing. right? There's more
Right.
dollars that are competing for a fixed amount of Bitcoins.
And Jack-
yes, real estate's going to go up too because there's more dollars competing for real estate, but they can make more real estate. They can find more gold. They can't make any more Bitcoins. And that's just, I mean, even a college dropout can understand that, my friend.
Jack, let me jump in and again just reiterate that the basic of the argument is that there are only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin, and the finality of that, what am I trying to say? The supply constraint on that is what will provide upward momentum.
So Bitcoin truly.
You guys were asking why all the shelves are empty behind him. It's because he sold everything to buy Bitcoin.
Upward momentum.
So Bitcoin truly is my savings account. I'm losing purchasing power with fiat. I'm gaining purchasing power with Bitcoin.
Look at the U.S. Our broad money supply increases at about 7% annualized since the 1960s, diluting everyone's savings. Everyone's chasing yields, and no one knows what the monetary policy is going to be in 4 years, much less 10 or 20. With Bitcoin, we know exactly what the supply will be. Everyone can verify it. And Bitcoin is disinflationary. So as of this halving, it's going to become harder than gold.
Right.
And with every halving, the American dream is getting cheaper in terms of Bitcoin. My dream home once cost like 600 Bitcoin, and then it was 100, and then 50, and now it's approaching single digits because Bitcoin will continue to reprice everything in the existing system. And it's giving a lot of young people hope that they will be able to provide for themselves and for their future descendants. With fiat, they can't do that anymore.
Where the hell was that video clip? I didn't see that anywhere on the news. Man, like, I feel like the people that like kind of go off the rails like that, like she was on point that entire conversation with herself, basically. Because, you know, they tried to shut her up right after that. But every time those good clips come out, like they're so hard to find because I feel like they just get hidden from all the bullshit FUD the big guys want to actually feed you. You know what I mean?
So keep in mind, this is the 1, 2, 3, 4th halving in Bitcoin's existence. There are 32 halvings in total, with the last one happening around the year 2140. So
yeah, there's a whole list of halvings. That's kind of awesome. Mr. Lynn T said, wish I didn't buy that pizza with Bitcoin. Yeah, the 22,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas.
even if price-wise nothing or minimal price action to the upside happens 12 months from now because of this halving, this supply shock, which does affect price, will happen over and over and over and over again.
So what has life been like for Sam Bankman-Fried behind bars?
SBF to receive his sentence on Thursday. The former FTX CEO faces up to 100 years in prison should the judge hand out the harshest penalty.
Right now, Bankman-Fried is waiting
I bet he'll be standing the whole time because it's a very uncomfortable sit right now for him.
sentencing, which is scheduled for March 28th. But since August, before his trial started, he's been sitting in a Brooklyn jail. The jail, Judge Lewis Kaplan once described as not on anyone's list of 5-star facilities, and it's long been criticized for its poor conditions.
Yeah, his living space is similar to a dormitory. He's sharing it with other inmates. And according to our reporting, he's also been giving out crypto advice.
What a convenient picture they put here.
Guards.
Yeah, although he is not doing any crypto trading
Why?
himself, but he is trading something else, which is fish.
Yeah, specifically packets of mackerel.
Yeah, they call them Macs, and apparently they're the go-to currency within jail. Yeah,
I
and
feel like I heard that. They trade mackerel in jail as currency instead of like cigarettes like they used to do.
Mom wrote a letter as well saying that, her son has been helping other inmates prepare their defenses and helping people study for their GEDs. Prosecutors are asking that Bankman-Fried get 40 to 50 years in prison and also have to pay over $11 billion in fines.
Meanwhile, Bankman-Fried says he's innocent and he plans to appeal.
And looking at recent altcoin news, Gunzilla.
So innocent.
I'm Dr. Disrespect, and I'm playing Off the Grid, a next-gen battle royale from Gunzilla Games on the Unreal 5 engine.
By the way,
these guys do anything for money. Do anything for money.
This channel will always disclose I'm invested in these coins.
Of course you are. No, whatever.
Coins today.
Doesn't go
Most
long.
other channels won't share with you. I will. And I am not saying that any of these altcoins will 5x, 25x, whatever, by the next halving. That would be irresponsible. But whatever projects make it to maybe the 10th halving in 2048 or future halvings down the line, they'll do much more than 100.
Listen, I'm pretty sure any of us that are holding from now until even 2030 is going to be insane.
X. Of course, with high reward comes ultra high risk. Any project in crypto theoretically can go to zero at any time, so
That's
never
true,
invest
too.
more than you're willing to lose. And click subscribe. We drop one video every day, keeping you informed. The news today, we are thrilled to announce that Gunzilla Games landscape Ripple versus
I don't know. Do you guys want to listen to that? I kind of want to hear it, actually.
Games
Whatever.
have secured $30 million in funding. This round was co-led by CoinFund and Avalanche Blockchain, with incredible support from Morningstar Ventures and Republic Capital.
And the visuals are amazing.
Oh, wow.
The best I've ever seen in a battle royale. And it's still in development.
And how
Wow, those are actually really good graphics. He wasn't lying.
Ever seen in a battle royale.
That's really good, actually.
And it's still in development.
And how this affects you. This funding accelerates the creation of Off the Grid and our innovative Guns platform, which is the first blockchain for AAA games that puts players first.
You know what? I want to hear a bit about GFAL at some point, because GFAL, the developers that made EA Sports, are the or somebody inside that team is or was a developer of EA Sports. You guys know it's in the game, right? The friggin' PlayStation or whatever games they made. In general, the developers there made their cryptocurrency to kind of bring the gaming stuff to this, aspect of life, cryptocurrency, like blockchain in general. So I want to see if they're going to come out with something along this style or just like sports stuff or whatnot.
The Grid is their leader thus far, and we are grateful for the continued support of our amazing partners on this journey to redefine the gaming landscape. Ripple versus Swift. Can XRP overthrow the payments giant?
I think what we're doing and executing on a day-by-day basis is in fact taking over Swift, in that we've now signed up well over 100 banks. Some of the largest Swift-enabled banks in the world are now using.
When was this clip? Like friggin', this is like a Joker Minor link when it's back like 6 years ago. Look at this guy. Looks he looks way different.
Ripple's technology. Just last week we saw a remittance company who's using Ripple's technology. They reduced the price per transaction to their consumers from $20 per transaction to $2 per transaction, and they saw an 800% increase in usage overnight. That's the type of dynamic that Swift isn't able to support that we're able to address right now.
And breaking news for XCAD, partnering with governments.
Oh, God.
XCAD Network, a tokenized platform for YouTubers to connect and reward their viewers with crypto tokens, today announced it has signed MOUs, Memorandums of Understanding, with multiple governments to expand incentivized Web3 education to millions of people across the globe. So governments are getting involved. And the first agreement was announced to be with Pakistan, and under this partnership, XCAD will distribute and incentivize the consumption of educational media among Pakistani citizens. Users will have to download the XCAD network application to watch interactive educational content on various Web3 topics. Upon completing the modules and consuming content, users are rewarded with tokens. And last thing to note is number one, of course, this is about educating their citizens on Web3. But two, these campaigns will be joint campaigns launched by governments and the XCAD team alongside select content creators from that country's jurisdiction. So first country is Pakistan. It'll be interesting to see the others. And a growth milestone for ZK Link. And as a reminder, this is an aggregated rollup unifying Ethereum L2s. Obviously, there are a lot of L2s out there. This is the protocol to unite them all. And the ZK Link Nova total value locked has reached over 300 million. Fun fact, on the top 3 staked assets, there's 96 million deposited Puff Ethereum with Puffer Finance, 74.4 million deposited Wrapped BTC, and 54.4 million deposited ETH. If you're bullish on Ethereum and L2s, you love this. By the way, if you're looking for the best in daily, which is aiming to be like a Uniswap, but for the Bitcoin ecosystem, BRC20s. First generation Bitcoin DeFi Hub, your fresh route to the BRC20 ecosystem. Congratulations to OrangeDex on their successful launch today. Almost $8 million in total in just 2 hours, and the price has been holding strong despite early investors getting almost all of their tokens at TGE. So good to see BRC20s making moves. And looking forward to what's next. Looking ahead, we are excited to unveil our plans for the future. OrangeDex will be launching top BRC20 projects on our O4DX Launch Hub, introducing unique initial launch offerings, ILOs, to our community. Furthermore, we are embarking on phase 1 of DEX and market aggregator implementation, initiating the aggregation of liquidity from multiple DEXs. So aiming to be the one DEX to rule them all, this strategic move will enhance liquidity provision and trading experience for our users, reinforcing OrangeDex as a leading player in the DeFi landscape. And AI altcoin LimeWire growth milestone.
I'm just assuming everything is paying him to talk about this stuff. Hey, look, Randy Hipper, look at her. Look at her. She was live while he was recording with the Lark Man last night at 5 o'clock. You guys didn't see that, actually. The interview was pretty good. I was dealing with my kids, so I couldn't talk much, but I was there. Interesting story how Lark got started. Shout out to his mom. She's awesome.
We've spent the month building. Here's what we've achieved in just under 30 days. Over 1.1 million platform users. Number of AI assets created, over 1.7 million. NFTs minted, 30,000. And LimeWire tokens burned, almost 30,000. I believe this was just in the month of March. And of course, for a deeper dive on AI altcoins in general,
go to him because he'll give you every single one that they paid him to talk about. All right, moving on to the recap. Oh, didn't mean to hit that. That was the wrong button. Damn it. What am I? I'm all over the place. Hitting wrong shit. Anyways, recap and stuff. Let's see what we got over here. Bitcoin, 70,754. Damn. Isn't this higher than when we started? How is it down 9.94%? Weird. Give me 1 second, fellas. All right, sorry. All right, let's see. Ethereum 3569. I swear it was like less than this. Was it less than this? Does anybody know? We're gonna raid Miss Randy Hipper in just a second. Not gonna get back to daddy duty, but let's see real quick. Let's get over to top 10 coins again here in the house. Just refresh this. Shiba still on 12th. Everything still looks pretty much the same. Shiba dropped down 200 million. That's crazy how much prices move in this market lately. Let's see. Okay, we get it. You didn't go to college. Me, Scott Rhodes. That was fucking rude. No, I didn't go to college, actually. I'm a master plumber. I went to a trade school. It was way smarter, and I'm much more successful than a lot of my friends that went to college and are in a lot of debt. Just saying. It was 70,453. Thank you. I thought so. Why does it say it's down 0.94%? That's messed up, right? Isn't that messed up? Crazy. Anyways, BCH still killing it. 568 bucks, 12.46% up on the day. Let's see. Dogecoin still killing it, man. These meme coins are absolutely insane. Actually, you know what? I want to check. If you guys go to CoinGecko, by the way, anybody's new here, you can actually, well, they have categories here, I guess, and they have meme coins that are on fire. I guess these are the trending ones, right? But they have categories. You can go into categories and then you can get to the meme section, but apparently it's just on the top today. So let's see, where is that one that's been, this one right here is trending. Brett, I've seen that logo before. Let's see the markets. We're gonna sell it. Gate.io, Sushi Swap. Oh, so it's all right, let's see. It's like a DeFi coin, I assume. What is that logo? What is that logo? I don't even know. It's DeFi. I'm not into DeFi. This is a DeFi meme. Is this what this is? Does anybody know? News. No. I want to go to news. No thanks. Oh ish. I gotta turn everything off. Massive storm overhead. Really? That's terrible, dude. Crypto KJ. I'm sorry, man. Hopefully you guys are safe and none of your stuff gets whacked with a surge. Look at this. February 29th. Damn. February 29th. This coin has been killing it. It's only been out for like a month, dude. God damn. Insane. All right. Anyways, guys, Miss Randy Hipper is going to be live in about 5 minutes or so, maybe 10 minutes. So we're going to go raid her. Hopefully you guys have a great, safe, and happy Thursday. I got to get back to daddy duty. Hopefully you guys have a good one, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace out and have a good day.